Next, it's time to turn cashew butter into cashew milk.
So we're using cashew concentrate. It's pure ground cashew, and we're using this as 50% of our base. This is our protein. This is what gives it that really rich dairy-like texture and flavor.
100 pounds of cashew butter is scraped out of these buckets into the mixer and combined with cold water. Because there isn't any dairy in this ice cream, all of the fat needed to give it its structure and texture comes from the cashew butter. And while many other nuts like almonds or macadamias could be used, Abby and her team prefer using cashews because of their creaminess and more neutral flavor with chocolate.
We found that adding water to the cashew concentrate gave it a creamier texture. We don't want it to be too thick because then you're just tasting cashew. We want it to be really creamy.
And you don't want to get any piece of chunks of the cashew. So that's why it's supposed to be melted the right way. So this is about the same thing like when we melted the chocolate. If you see there's no chunks on the spatula, then you know it's ready. It's ready to be mixed with the other ingredients, and we're almost done to start running.
The final mix is then pumped into this holding container before it's frozen and aerated.
A really important part of the vegans is that it has to move. Because if it sits, it can congeal. So we're moving it right now. We have to keep it agitated until we can spin it and it'll stay in the ice cream form.
At first, the ice cream comes out liquidy. But once it starts to freeze, they begin pumping it into these 3-gallon cartons.
So that's ready. That's ready.
They add chocolate chips by hand for the first few cartons, while another employee adjusts and fills a fruit feeder that will add in the right amount of chips at a steady rate. As it's pumped through these pipes, the mix is combined with one of the most important ingredients. But it's something you can't see. It's air, and it makes up around 20% of the total volume of this ice cream.
Air is what makes or breaks ice cream, in my opinion. The air creates volume, it creates texture. It's one of the most important ingredients, actually.
Each carton is weighed, then wheeled into a blast freezer where it's kept to harden and wait for final delivery. At Oddfellows Domino Park location in Williamsburg, they sell around 60 gallons of ice cream every week and offer over 20 flavors. From wasabi chocolate chip to mango sticky rice, the flavors are non-traditional and draw a unique clientele.
Our customers are super adventurous, and they know that when they come into our ice cream shop, they can get cookies and cream ice cream, but they're also super excited to try our more odd flavors, and that's what brings them in, that's what brings them back.
It's actually delicious.
But sometimes people just want a traditional flavor that's slightly different, like the vegan chocolate chunk.
So I'm new to the vegan ice cream scene, and this is a lot better than what I expected. It still has the creaminess and the richness that you would get from your typical traditional ice cream scoop, but it has a lightness to it as well, which is really nice. And you get some really nice chunks in here too. Can't say no. So yeah, guys, come to Oddfellows, get your vegan ice cream.
With the meat, which owner Kazim Peshenek sources specifically from the hind legs of dairy calves from the Kazilkahaman district in Ankara.
Yani bizim döner kebap için en iyi kısım süt danasının arka butu. Zaten arka but olması çok önemli. Özellikle de genç danalar, yani yaklaşık 1 yaşında civarında genç danaların zaten etin renginden de belli olur. Pembe olur, esmer olmaz. Yaşlı danalardaki esmer olur.
Kitchen staff use these special knives that are thin and long to slice the large portions of meat into thin, flat pieces.
Yani normal bir mutfak bıçağı tabii mümkün değil. Yani bu butlar tek tek ustalar tarafından aşağıda kesiliyor.
Workers fill this entire table with meat, then salt it, and cover it with the house marinade.
Yani günlük şubelerimizde her şubede yaklaşık 500 kilo, yarım ton civarında et marine ediyoruz. Yani etin marinesinin içerisinde soğan suyu, süt veya süt ürünleri, ayran, yoğurt vesaire gibi bir de %1 oranında da tuz kullanıyoruz.
They massage the meat to make sure each piece is generously coated. Once they've finished the marinade process, they neatly pack the seasoned slabs of meat into these metal containers. They cover the meat in plastic and move it to the fridge, where it rests for 2 days for the flavors to meld and the meat to tenderize. Once the meat is fully rested, it's time to start assembling the shish. The process starts at 9 a.m. and it takes about 2 hours for cooks to stack around 250 kilos of meat. For extra flavor and richness, they also add layers of tail fat.
Daha sonra şişe takacağımız zaman da %10-12 civarında kuyruk yağı kullanıyoruz. Parça şeklinde ağza gelmesin diye kıyma şeklinde hem ara katlara hem en üst kata kuyruğun yağını almış oluyorsunuz ve lezzetini almış oluyorsunuz. Ama parça şeklinde özellikle bazı kimseler sevmezler, yiyemezler.
Throughout the stacking process, workers repeatedly push down on the layers to keep air out and shave off the outer pieces of meat to shape the doner into an inverted cone. These shavings get added back into the stack with the tail fat, so nothing is wasted. For the final layer, workers flatten the remaining tail fat into a sheet that perfectly covers the top of the stack. Then it's time to light the broiler and let the doner cook for 4 to 5 hours.
15-20 dakika ilk o içini çekme tabir ediyoruz dönerde. İlk yüzü ısınıyor. İşte ondan sonra servise normal başlayabiliyoruz.
The lunch rush usually lasts from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. In this hour and a half span, the restaurant serves 500 to 600 customers.
Yani her gün günlük yaklaşık 1,5 ton civarında döner satışımız var.
Because of Doner's special cooking method, orders can be ready in as little as 5 minutes.
Dünyanın en hızlı yemeği. Hem hızlı bir şekilde pişecek hem hızlı bir şekilde kesilecek. Yani insan için dik bir şekilde en ideal hızlı bir şekilde kesmesi için.
The restaurant cooks a new separate doner for the evening rush. While this ensures the freshness that customers value, it also caters to customers' varying preferences of the doner.
Bu dönerin şimdi farklı yönleri var. Kimisi ilk tıraşını sever. Yani biraz daha tuzlu olur. Ama kimisi de görüntüsü de güzel olsun, yaprak olsun adına. Yani dönerin daha ortalarında.
Ben daha önce dönerin ilk kesim halini de denedim. O da güzel. Yani sırf onun için gelenler de var çok erken saatte ama ben daha çok akşam saatlerine kalmadan yani daha sulu olduğu zamanlarda, etin suyunu daha fazla olduğu zamanlarda, etin daha yumuşak olduğu zamanlarda tercih ediyorum.
Doner has existed in different forms and under various names in the Middle East for ages. But the ready-to-cut vertical version we see today is believed to have been created in the mid-19th century in Bursa, Turkey by Iskender Efendi. The doner kebab is not Turkey's national dish, but it is among the country's most popular foods. Every day, 900,000 kilograms of traditional kebab is eaten across the country. And although rice and salad are some of the most common additions to this popular street food across the world, according to Kazim,
Döner kebabını yemenin en iyi yolu
Peşinek doner makes its lavash with a simple dough recipe of white flour, salt, yeast, and water. Once it's been properly mixed, the pieces are shaped, flattened, topped with an egg yolk marinade, and finally cooked in a stone oven, heated by a wood fire. Each lavash is timed so that it bakes in the same time frame as the doner.
babamın bir tabiri vardır. Lavaş bizde döner mesela 3 tane sipariş gelir, 3 tane lavaş çıkar.
Once the lavash is cut and plated, Cooks top the slices with 140 grams of doner and sivri bibash, a grilled spicy pepper that is traditionally served with roast or grilled meat throughout Turkey. Small plates of sumac onions and fresh salad are also served as sides or additional toppings.
Bence mükemmel ısırık. Pidenizin arasına eti koyduğunuz zaman üstüne biraz biber ekledikten sonra soğanı koyup aldığınız o ilk ısırık en güzel ısırığınız oluyor.
Bunu tam kıvamında ayarlıyor peçenek ekmeğini buranın. İdeal incelikte. Yenildiği zaman da parçalanmayan bir şekilde. Ekmeğini bu şekilde tarif edebilirim.
By the end of the meal, many customers are still hungry for dessert.
Yani bazı müşterilerimiz var, hatta şöyle tabir ediyor. Biz döneri sütlacı altlık olsun diye yiyoruz.
The recipe for peşinek doner's rice pudding, also known as sütlak, took 4 months to perfect. It starts with the milk from Jersey cows, which is boiled with sugar and Osmanşik rice for over 2 hours to reach this thick, creamy consistency.
Sütlaçta da benim için önemli olan nokta o sütün kokusun tadını alabilmem lazım. Yine aynı şekilde etteki gibi rahatsız etmeyecek olması lazım.
Cooks bake the pudding in a water bath inside the same wood-fired oven used for lavash.
Ya bir katkı maddesi olmasın. Yani bir eskiden, çok eskilerden annelerimizin köyde yaptığı sütlaç gibi olsun. İnsanları aradığı bir lezzeti sunalım diye.
Buraya yıllardır geldiğimiz için artık buraya güveniyoruz. Etlerinin sağlıklı ve temiz olduğunu biliyoruz. Çalışanların güler yüzü, bizi kapıda gördükleri zaman samimi bir şekilde karşılamaları da bizi buraya çeken etkenlerden biri.
Hay muchas barbacoas, barbacoa de pollo, barbacoa de res, pero nosotros estamos enfocados en que es la barbacoa de borrego. Texcoco es muy famosa de barbacoa. Es donde, pues prácticamente voy a repetir, donde se encuentran todos los implementos, complementos para hacer una buena barbacoa.
Making enough barbecue for the weekend begins at 8 a.m. on Friday. Saul and his team begin preheating the 11 pit ovens by adding large cuts of wood into the bottoms and stripping pieces of cardboard for kindling. Using a lighter, they set the pieces of cardboard on fire and place them into the centre of the wood. When the flames reach the top of the oven, they start offloading fresh maguey leaves and placing them across the ovens. The agave leaves are roasted until they become more flexible. Meanwhile, another team offloads 500 pounds of lamb and places it into the meat prep area. Using a machete, they cut down the larger pieces so the meat can better fit inside of the 3-foot wide oven. All of the ovens El Pica Uno uses are preheated for 7 to 8 hours, but knowing when the oven is ready is based entirely on feel.
Lo que más tiempo lleva aprender es tener el horno a la capacidad que requiere para poder echar un horno. O sea, tenemos que visualizar. No tengo así algo muy concreto para decirte, sabes que este horno ya tiene.
When the oven is ready, the remaining pieces of wood are removed and a smouldering pile is left at the bottom. Workers then take the pre-roasted maguey leaves and line the ovens. These leaves contain a sap, which will infuse the meat with a sweet, smoky flavour when combined with the wood embers.
Trabajamos 36 pencas, 36 hojas de maguey. Aproximadamente son 2 capas y media de. Son 2 capas y además buscamos la fuga para poner una capa para que no se dore la barbacoa, la carne.
Once the oven has been wrapped, a large steel pot filled with chickpeas, guajillo chilies, secret spices and water is lowered into the bottom.